Here's a problem we don't talk about enough. In the last 50 years in the United States of America, society has not improved financially at all. And I'm going to prove it to you. So 50 years ago, a man named Earl Nightingale did a broadcast, and he titled it The Strangest Secret. And in that broadcast, he shared with his audience what would happen if he took 100 men aged 25, followed them around for 40 years, where they would end up. And here are the results. 1 would be rich. 4 would be financially independent and not have to depend on anyone else for their livelihood. 5 would still be working to make ends meet. 54 would be broke and dependent on the government or someone else for their livelihood. And 36 would actually be dead already. So fast forward 50 years into 2022, and here's some new updated statistics taking 100 people, men and women, starting at age 25 and following them for 40 years until the age they were 65. And I think the results are going to shock everyone. So the results are: 1, the same as 50 years ago, would be rich or very wealthy. And let me define that for everybody. I define that as the 1%, what we all call the 1%. And as of today's current stats, that's about $11.5 million worth of net worth. Okay, so 1 would be very rich, would be wealthy. 5 would be financially independent and not have to depend on anyone else. And let me define that for you. The top 5% of American net worth is about $2.5 million in 2022. If you take the 4% rule that you can live off of, through retirement and not have to worry about dwindling your nest egg to zero, right? So you're financially independent. That's my definition of that for this benchmark. There would be 5 that are financially independent. Only 1 more than 50 years ago. 20 would still be working, which is a lot more would still be working now versus back then. 54, oddly enough, the same number of people that were broken and dependent on the government 50 years ago, 54 would still be broken dependent on the government today. And that's according to AARP of seniors 65 and older living paycheck to paycheck or dependent on the government. And 20 would be dead today. So you can see the only significant change was, instead of being dead, 36 of them back in 50 years ago, today only 20 would be dead. That other 16 roughly would just be working instead of being dead. Anybody see the problem with this?